Okay, it looks like we're live. This is a Committee of Adjustment meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 9:02, it appears. Looks like we're live. There's an agenda before us. Is there any additions or amendments to the agenda? None noted. Could I get someone to move the agenda, please? Moved by Dave.
I can second it.
Seconded by Bongo. All in favor? Okay. Does anyone have a pecuniary interest to disclose? None noted. We have the minutes from the previous meeting in front of us. Any additions or amendments to it? Okay, could I get a mover or seconder?
I'll make the motion to adopt the minutes.
Okay, can I get a seconder, please? Seconded by Sandra.
Yep, I'll second it.
All in favor? Moved. This is a public hearing. I'd like to call on Tracy Cannon, our Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment, also our Planning and Building Administrator, to move forward here, please.
Thanks, Councillor Shala. The first application is to hear for minor variance for lands locally known as 468 Moonlight Bay Road. I believe that we have the applicant online. Holly, are you there?
Yes, good morning, Mayor.
Did you want to introduce yourself to the committee?
Through you, the chair, my name is and I am the daughter of the owners of 468 Moonlight Road, but I also own a company that does minor variances for people, so they look out in that regard. So I'm just here to answer questions you may have.
Thank you and welcome to our meeting. So the subject property has frontage on Aylen Lake and it is currently improved with 2 single-story frame cottages and a woodshed. Carla, if I can get you to go to that map, if you don't mind. The northern cottage and the majority of the southern cottage are located on the Shore Road allowance that has been recently purchased by the owner. And the southern cottage is proposed to be enlarged with a sunroom, screened-in porch, and it's proposed to be approximately 252 square feet. The subject property is zoned SR within the zoning bylaw, and the zone permits the existing cottage as a legal non-conforming use. However, it doesn't meet the 20-meter setback. Therefore, any changes or alteration or replacement of the existing cottage approves approval for an expansion of the legal non-conforming use. And due to the proximity of the enlargement being located close to Aylen Lake, and Aylen Lake is a managed lake trout lake, an environment impact study was required in order to consider the application. Ravenwood Environmental provided a report dated June 9th. And the result of the EIS concluded that no adverse impact on the adjacent natural features, including Aylen Lake, are anticipated, and the area where the addition will be constructed is highly disturbed with no further disturbance to occur within the vegetated area downslope of the construction. So the requirement to hold the meeting is that there must be 10 days notice as prescribed by Section 45 of the Planning Act. And the notices were mailed to property owners within 60 meters of the subject property on August 29th. And the sign was posted on the property on August 26th. Comments from the planner are outlined in the planning report, and no further comments were no further comments were received from the planner. We did receive comments in support of the development from Richard and Kathy Shillington, which is an adjacent property owner. So I'm going to go to the committee. Does anybody have any questions or comments in regards to this application?
It's Councillor Florent. I have absolutely no concerns at all because the deck is actually going to be farther away than the closest part of the cottage. I wouldn't anticipate that there would be any change to the shoreline whatsoever.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Councillor Bongo here. My only comment is thank you for going through with this application process. And it's, yeah, I echo exactly what Councillor Florence said. And I think that this is a successful situation.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none. Holly, do you have any comments that you would like to add?
No, I reviewed the environmental assessment with my parents and we have no issues with any of the conclusions of it and are more than willing to put up some pretty heavy duty sedimentation barriers along the shoreline to protect it.
That's great. Thank you. So I guess I can move to the recommendation. If no one else has any further comments, it's going to go pretty quickly, I think, which is nice. So recommendation and conditions, proposed conditions is based on the planning analysis provided in the planner's report and the findings of the EIS prepared by Ravenwood Environmental. It is recommended that the Committee of Adjustment approve the permission to enlarge application with the below conditions. So that the approved development is constructed substantially in accordance with the sketch submitted by the applicant. An approved sedimentation barrier is installed downslope of the construction area during all active phases, which may result in movement or disturbance of substrate material to ensure there is no erosion or resulting sedimentation of Allen Lake as a result of the activities on site. This barrier is to utilize best management practices for construction materials and being installed properly and inspected and maintained as required. That the sedimentation barrier remain in place until all disturbed substrates has been stabilized using approved methods, geotextile, hydroseeding, etc. Payment of all municipal legal and planning fees associated with the processing of the application. Any further comments on those conditions?
Tracy, I don't have any comments. I lost you there, had to get off the computer, but I think it was a very detailed report by their owner's consultant, and I have no issues with this.
Okay, great, thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none. Oh. Councillor Harper, is that?
I have no concerns over the location of the sun deck. I agree with Councillor Florent.
Great, thank you. In making the decision, so sorry, I now call upon a motion. Moved by
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
In making the decision upon the application, the committee has considered whether or not the application meets requirements of subsection 45(2) of the Planning Act. And therefore, the Committee of Adjustments grants the permission to enlarge subject to the conditions read by myself. I now call upon a vote. Councillor Bongo,
4.
Councillor Collins,
4,
Councillor Florent,
4.
Councillor Harper,
4.
Councillor Shallow,
Or
accepted with the conditions. Okay. Thank you, Holly, for attending the meeting this morning. I will be in touch with you with the notice of decision, and we'll be able to move forward.
That's great. Thank you. Have a great morning, everybody.
You too. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move forward to the next agenda item, 5.2, which is to hear application for a severance of application number C22 2022-05. And this portion of the Committee of Adjustment meeting is to consider a consent application under Section 53 of the Planning Act for lands described as 814 North Mackenzie Lake Road. The applicant was not able to attend today, so therefore I will be speaking to it for this part. Application C 2022-05 requests municipal consent to create one new lot. And Carla, if I can get you to go with that. Sure. That's easier. So this would result in the severed lot having approximately 1 hectare, 2.47 acres, and approximately 100 meters of frontage on North Mackenzie Lake Road. The retained lot is approximately 19.2 hectares with 47.5 acres with a lot area of approximately approximately 107 meters of frontage on North Mackenzie Lake Road. The lot to be severed is currently vacant and is proposed to be used as residential purposes, and the retained lot currently has an existing cabin and accessory structure. The requirement to hold this meeting is that there must be 14 days notice as prescribed by the Planning Act, and the notice signs were posted on the property on September 4th and mailed to the property owners on August 29th. Comments from the planner outlined in the planning report. I did receive a email correspondence from MNRF, Algonquin Land Team, and that they had no comments on the application due to the lands not being within the settlement area of the Algonquin land claim. So they didn't, no comments from, they had no further comments on that, and no other comments were received from the public. So I'm going to go to the committee. Does anybody have any questions or comments in regards to this application?
I have at least one. On the map that's shown there, what's that road that's on the right-hand side? I can't read the writing.
Mackenzie Lake
address,
Road,
That's Mackenzie
Mackenzie
Lake
Lake
Road.
Road?
North Mackenzie?
or North Mackenzie rather.
Yeah. They have frontage on North Mackenzie Lake Road.
It's just
Okay.
past Kenny Pichot's. That's the first property past the apple orchard.
On the same side?
Yes, it is. It's the hydro, the boost or Bell booster tower or whatever would be on the north corner of that, on the top corner along the road.
Okay, why does it say West Hastings Road?
That's
That's
what they
part of
are.
the legal description. Yeah, they all do in there. A lot of those properties have West Hastings Road, lot 23.
In the other side, they're identified as East Hastings.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought that was only to describe the unopened road allowance that runs up past Doug Fudge's there.
That, yes, that is. Joe, I'm quite familiar with that area. Actually, I own a property in that vicinity. And just below that, one lot. But anyway, that is the old Hastings Road.
Okay,
And all those lots are identified the same way. There's that part's the open part, but when it gets down to the corner at your friends there, it turns. And the other part is unopened. It was years ago, it was the only access through to Madawaska. But since roads were built and vehicles are available, it's no longer open. But at one time you could drive. I've drove my vehicle up in there a long ways, and now it's actually flooded with beaver, etc., and grown over. But you could pass through there with certain types of vehicles for years.
okay, that's what was confusing to me. I didn't realize that the actual Mackenzie Lake North Road was actually known as West Hastings Road. I thought it only referred to the unopened road allowance. So that's why I was wondering if this property had frontage on a road allowance, like on an open road. So now that you've cleared that up, I have no other concerns. Just one more bit of confusion. If it was described as East Hastings Road, wouldn't that be in Lyle Township?
That's correct.
Okay,
If it was across the road, it would be in Lyell.
okay. There is mud now.
I have just one question. This seems to be so over and above board and so obvious. Why has it had to come before the Committee of Adjustment? The road allowance, the road frontage, is that the thing? Is that what's caused it to come to us? Because this seems just like the most sensible thing in the world.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy, but any severance that's not considered a natural severance has to come to the Committee of Adjustment to be approved. I know it makes sense to totally go through and it's an easy one, but it still has to be approved by the Committee of Adjustment.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We like these ones.
By a natural severance, you're referring to a road or?
Navigable waterway.
Yeah.
And that's just basically done through a lawyer. They can do natural severances, but anything that, in this case, because it's on the same side of the road, there's no navigable waterway or a road in between, it has to come to us. Any other comments? Hearing none. So the application is consistent with the provincial policy statement. It conforms to the official plan. It complies with the zoning bylaw. It is recommended that the Committee of Adjustment approve the consent application. Can I get a motion?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Subject to following conditions, the applicant provide the township with the transfer deed and a duplicate original of one copy, a copy of a reference plan to be deposited in the land registry office that is substantially in compliance with the application sketch, and a schedule describing the severed lot and naming the grantor and grantee attached to the transfer for approval purposes, and that an entrance permit be obtained from the township for the severed lot. Payment of all municipal legal and planning fees associated with the processing of the application. And if applicable, that the applicant meet all financial requirements of the township, including payment of the balance of any outstanding taxes, including penalties and interest. I'll now call upon a vote for that. I've read by myself. I'll go.
For.
Councillor Collins,
4.
Councillor Florent,
4.
Councillor Harper, Councillor Harper,
Or,
Councillor Shala,
Or
accepted with the conditions. And then we'll move to the next one, moving right along. Well, if I can get you, because this is going to be a little bit to go to 18. So this one is a little different application than what we've seen in the past. This portion of the meeting is to consider a consent application for a lot addition for lands described as lot 18 and 19 in the Dickens Ward and locally known as 2874 and 288 Allen Lake. I believe Adrian Taylor, the applicant's solicitor, is on the attending the meeting. Is that correct, Adrian?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
So the shore road allowance in front of lots 18 and 19 was purchased by the owner of those lots, but has since merged on title of the parcel. So lot 18 and 19 were owned by the same people. And when they bought the shore road allowance, it was put into one name, and then it was, that whole piece went with both lots. So now they want to sell the one property, and they can't because the shore road allowance is all one piece. So lot 18 is currently improved with a sleeping cabin and shed. There's another cabin situated on the portion of the shore road allowance that is proposed to be added to 18. The lot has approximately 113 meters of water frontage on Avon Lake and an area of approximately 0.27 hectares. The area of the shore road allowance proposed to be added to lot 18 is approximately 0.13 hectares. Together, the overall property would have an area of approximately 0.4 hectares. Due to lots 18 and 19 being in a registered plan of subdivision, they remain individual lots, but the shore road allowance can't be added to lot 18 and 19 without a part lot control bylaw. This bylaw will allow the shore road allowance to be added to the lots and allow the lands to maintain their plan of subdivision status. And this will also be added as a condition for both lots. So 19 will be included in this part lot control bylaw as well. And this will be applied as a condition later on. I'll read that. Adding the shore road allowance to lot 18 and 19 will ensure that the shore road allowance will no longer be individually conveyable. And right now, if we don't do that, those shore road allowance could be transferred independently of lot 18 and 19. So with that being said, is there any questions or comments on this application? Adrian, did you want to add anything to this?
No, I'm just here to answer any questions if there are any. I've been doing this not very long, but this was certainly the most complicated one that I have done so far. So if there are questions, I think I can answer them.
This was definitely a learning tool for you and I and the planners, as we've never come across this before. So it's a great experience anyway.
The only question I have, Tracy, is the extension of the lot line on that portion that's in red on the extreme left. My understanding was that the lot lines were supposed to extend through the shoreline allowance to the lake. That one does not. It veers off and actually gives the property owner more shoreline allowance to the detriment of the property on the left.
See, they own this, and I know people on the, can't see me, but I'll explain. They own this here too as well. They purchased this as a lot addition, this pie piece.
Yeah,
Is this what you're talking about? Is this piece here?
yeah, but where you have your finger, the blue part,
This here.
yeah. To my understanding, the shoreline allowances, then it must have been surveyed, so it must be correct. But it seems to fly against the policy that it doesn't extend, that blue line should extend right to the water.
Okay, so this isn't really, this is for some reason, this triangular piece was put in, they did a lot addition.
No, I'm
And I
not,
think this was purchased after. So then it, like you're saying, it should go down all the way to here? Is this what you're saying?
no,
May I make a comment?
Go ahead, yeah.
So the next door neighbor that's actually owns lot 17 does in fact own the shore road allowance in front of their property. So yes, that line, I think if we were closing the shore road allowance today, would be projected perpendicular to the water line.
Yeah.
But this was done prior even to my clients purchasing the property in 97. Yes, if we were to do it today, it would certainly run perpendicular to the water line. But both shore road allowances have previously been closed. So there's not really anything we can do about it at this point. That must have, it somehow made it through back in prior to 97 when the shore road allowance was purchased.
so that was actually done before the township of South Algonquin existed then. Okay, so it's not our mistake.
No.
And the neighbor does own their shore road allowance as well. So it's not interfere. They've accepted the line there because they've also closed theirs.
Okay,
And in fact, the lot that lot 18 and the part of the shore road allowance that we're looking to sever and add to lot 18 is in fact being sold to the person that owns lot 17.
wow, that makes.
So
it
they end up
pretty
owning all of it anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna own it, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Could I ask a question? Is, why would the line be in lot 18 when it appears that the blue line is over in what may have been lot 17?
They did a lot addition back in the day, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And that's what put that pie piece in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And that was prior to us as well. Okay, so.
Sounds like it would be Councillor Harper's fault then. Did you hear that, Dave?
Yes, I did. I like the dealt with the sale of that 66-foot shoreline. And you're correct in assuming that in normal circumstances, the boundary lines, if we can do it, run perpendicular to the water's edge. But in some cases, you can't do that.
Okay,
And the reason being, we don't want to give or take away any type of shoreline allowance to an individual property owner. So we try to maintain the same amount of shoreline is what the width of the lot, the actual lot is. Not always could we do it. Most times we did. This doesn't turn out to be too bad, this one. That's quite a while ago.
Thank you. So the requirement to hold the meeting is that there must be 14 days notice as prescribed by section 53 of the Planning Act. And the notice signs were posted on the property on August 30th and mailed to property owners within the required 60 meters of the subject property on August 29th. The comments from the planner are circulated in the planning report. MNRF, the Algonquin Land Team, responded to the notice, and since the lands are to correct a title error and it does not access to or use a settlement parcel, they have no comments, and there was no other comments from the public received. So I guess I could go into the, if there's no further comments from, and everybody's satisfied with this, I'll go into the decision. Adrian, do you have any further comments, or anybody online have any comments?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Nobody? Okay. All right, so if I can get a motion of this decision.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I will now read the decision. The application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and conforms to the official plan and complies with the zoning bylaw. Therefore, it is recommended that the Committee of Adjustment approve the consent application subject to the following conditions. The applicant submit a request to the township to lift part lot control to effect the merging of the shore road allowance in front of lots 18 and 19, Plan M334, with the respective lots. As per condition 2B, which I'll read in a minute, the applicant shall provide the township with a copy of the reference plan to be deposited in the land registry office that is substantial to the in compliance with the application sketch. That the applicant provide the township with the original executed deed, a duplicate original and one copy, a copy of the reference plan to be deposited in the land registry office that is substantially in compliance with the application sketch, and a schedule describing the severed lot and naming the grantor and the grantee attached to the transfer for approval purposes. Payment of all legal and planning fees associated with the processing of the application, and if applicable, that the applicant meet all financial requirements of the township, including payment of the balance of any outstanding taxes, including penalties and interest. So I now call upon a vote. Councillor Bongo,
4,
Councillor Collins,
4,
Councillor Florent,
4,
Councillor Harper,
or
Councillor Shala,
Or,
accepted with conditions. And I will pass, I want to thank Adrian, thank you. This was an interesting application to say the least, and I learned a lot from this, and thank you for attending the meeting today.
Thank you very much for all your help, Tracy.
Thank you. Have a good day.
are there any other issues before us this morning? I guess I could call for a mover and a seconder to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move it.
I can second it.
Was that moved by Bill?
That was Bongo.
Bongo, moved by Bongo, seconded by Sandra. All in favor? Moved. Carried. Thank you, everyone.
Do you want to go right into the asset management, or would you like a break? You good here to carry on?
looks like everybody's good. We will carry right on. So we're still live streaming. I'd like to call the Asset Management Committee meeting to order at 9:35. Everybody should have a copy of the agenda in front of them. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll need a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councillor Shala, seconded by
Second it.
Councillor Rodnick. With the matters before us today, does anybody wish to disclose a pecuniary interest? Again, there are none noted. The first presentation today, number 4 on the agenda, is Paul Overy. And it's concerning the road allowance purchase request. And there is a staff report in the package.
So Paul was supposed to come this morning. He must
He's
have-
right there on the steps.
Oh. You- Paul, how are you?
You get the bill.
I did go.
Mr. Overy has joined us in the council chambers. I'll turn it over to Tracy.
Do you want to, do you have something, did you want to speak first, Paul, in regards to this?
Sure. Appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of you today. I guess in May, I approached the township to purchase the road allotment that is adjacent to my property, which since the first building that was put on there by John or Jack Kayak, the septic system, leaching bed is all housed on that road allotment. It's been there for the last 50 or so years. The septic system itself has been replaced at least twice, once by me, approved by the previous Jerry Dunn. So I'm looking to try to purchase, opposed to have an agreement with the township as it affects any future sale of my property. I don't really have an alternative to move the septic system or the building that's on it, due to the fact of where the entrance is to my basement, the only raised portion of my land where to bury the septic system, the entrance from the highway, the relation of my drill well as to where I could put the septic system. So I'm looking to purchase it outright. It's been a defined area since the first home that was put there, and every consecutive person thereafter that's owned the property has used it as a septic and leaching system. It does not impact any access to the property, anything behind my property. My adjacent neighbors do have access to back their property through their own property and old municipal road that actually has highway access right now. So I'm proposing to council to purchase that property so that I can at least limit any liability I have and problems I have with any future sale of that property. Probably should have been addressed long ago, seeing that the building's been there for 50 years. The septic and leaching system has been there for the same period of time. Yeah, so I'm here today to try to get council to allow me to purchase said property.
Tracy?
So, in doing so, if council wishes to sell the property, we would have to provide public consult to the Algonquins of Ontario. There is adjacent lands that, selected lands that are behind that, off that road allowance. Also, I was going through some files the other day and I did find a agreement between the former owner of your place in acknowledging that the septic system was there and that cabin or that log structure was there as well. And it was agreement since 1995.
Okay.
So we do have an existing agreement in place. It was Township of Erie, but I feel that, you know, we are, Erie is amalgamated altogether as Township of South Algonquin, so I believe it would still remain in effect. So with that being said, council can decide to do the recommendations or the options are that we can enter into another encroachment agreement under the new unopened road allowance. But like I said, we already have one, but that was just discovered the other day. We could proceed with the sale of the subject road allowance per the unopened road allowance policy. Or there's another, we could do nothing until further information is received on the development of lands within the Algonquin land claim. So I think that it's a good time to maybe have some discussion between council, if that, what everybody's thoughts are on any questions.
Just
What everybody's thoughts are on any questions.
just before I ask councillors for their opinion, I want to ask Mr. Overy if you still want to continue with the purchase, knowing that there is a legitimate agreement in place for you to use that property.
Yes, on the condition that I don't lose the right to have the septic that's been there for the last 50 years on that road allotment.
Well, it's been my policy, as long as I've been councillor, that the new corporation has to honor all the agreements of and the liabilities of the old corporation. So in that respect, I don't see any danger of you losing that permission to have that there. The question is, do you still want to proceed with the purchase?
I do.
He does. So then I will open the floor to comments from council.
I just, it's Councillor Bongo here. I have a question for the veteran council members. I think that this might be my first experience with this kind of a situation. Is there something that we can compare it to that can probably enlighten our approach to this? And, you know, if there's another precedent that we can lean on in this situation?
Council has closed unopened road allowance and sold them to the adjoining owner and I'm not counting shoreline allowances in
Right.
that. But I
Exactly.
remember one specifically at Macaulay Lake where we did that. The unopened road allowance intersected his property. And I think it was a plan of subdivision road allowance. I don't think it was a concession line road allowance. But I do remember that we closed it up and proceeded to sell the person that had property on both sides of the road allowance. I see this as kind of the same thing, that it's not precedent setting like we've done it before. And I don't really see any reason not to, unless the only one I think would be if the Algonquins vetoed it for some reason as restricting access to their property, which is in behind, and they do have an alternate. There's a couple alternates.
There's a couple alternatives.
There's one on the plan off Algonquin Street, and there's any number off of Nipissing Road. Any other councillors have an opinion?
Councillor Shallow here. I'm familiar with this property. I was raised and grew up right next door to the original when McGui's owned it. Then it was sold to Kajak, and it appears that John Kajak must have got permission either from the MNRF or from the township to purchase a slight wedge of that road allowance after he tore the old house down and built the new place, which was likely built in the mid-70s. And then very likely the township of Erie must have given a building permit for that log building that was built there when Van Baal owned it. That wasn't a Kajak building. That was built by Van Baals. And then it's obvious they were involved because we allowed and give permission for the weeping bed, so on the same road allowance. And so, you know what, if I had a choice here, I think I would vote in favor of selling this to the individual, because if he ever goes to sell his property, he actually owns, or the previous owner to him owned or built the cabin that's actually on the road allowance outside of the lot. So he's already paid for that portion of it, and then it was and likely the weeping system that went along with it. So he likely had maybe unaware at the time, I don't know, and maybe it doesn't even matter, but they were certainly, I believe, recognized in the community as being owned by the one individual, both the log building and the larger two-story building with the walk-in basement. So you know what, I don't see much of how somebody, if the land claim was, why they would be against it, because they'd have to go through the log building to get to the top of the hill. So and it's actually quite low. I think there's a wetland out in front of it, approximately where the word road is of road allowance, and there's culverts there where the draining goes across the road, and so to the west. So you know what, it would just likely clear it up. It'd be better for him, an investment. He's certainly invested in our community and improved the location immensely since he's owned it. So I would vote in favor of that.
Any other comments? Councillor Harper? I think you're muted, Dave.
I understand there is an agreement in place. I don't have a concern about the sale of it to the adjacent property owner. My only interest in that is we've got it down as a $16.50 per meter cost. What does that amount to, Tracy, for the total property? What kind of value we're putting on this?
Well, we have to wait for the survey to go in and determine it like any other shore road allowance, right?
Okay, I'm just wondering.
Mayor Dumas?
Thank you, Councillor Florent. Excuse me. I concur with your comments and Councillor Shala and Councillor Harper as well. An agreement has been made. It has been in place over 50 some years. And I can see the reason why Mr. Overy would like to go forward with this for the integrity of his own ownership, his property, and to ensure his future, you know, what he may want to do in the future. For example, sell this property. So I think it's reasonable. It was done in 50 years ago in good conscience of the council of the day in regards to the situation. And anyway, I would vote for this to sell this property to Mr. Overy. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other Councillor, Councillor Rodnick.
Lot 7, concession 7, it's an actual road. I'm not real familiar with this property.
It's an unopened allowance.
Block 7, concession 7 is also on, is an unopened road allowance.
No, that would be the next law.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Lot 7 and concession 7.
Well, they're all concession 7.
So pieces.
Between 6 and 7.
Yeah, that's not a road allowance.
That's not a what?
That's a property.
That's a proper, okay.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Good.
Okay, I would, as chair, I would determine that there's a reasonable reason to assume that council would approve a severance, and that I would advise staff and Mr. Overy to proceed with the process, whatever that is.
Yeah, so what'll have to happen is I guess we'll treat it like a shore road allowance. I'll bring it to a resolution to the next council meeting, getting permission from council to go ahead and proceed with the sale. We'll have to provide notice like we do with anything, so it'll be a bit of a process, a survey will need to be done and that sort of thing, but we can talk about that at the next steps are.
Okay,
And then the AOO will be consulted with at some
Yeah,
point?
when we
Okay.
provide notice,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll provide notice to them, yeah.
because this is a committee level meeting, you can't get council approval formally. So it has to go to a council meeting to get a formal approval. It would be a motion on the table and council will vote on it, and then it would be a go from there.
When is the next council meeting?
October.
When will this be
October
addressed?
5th.
October 5th.
So this would be addressed October 5th.
The resolution will be put on the table to provide staff with permission to proceed. And then we can start the process.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then a survey obviously would be on me to conduct a survey. I realize that.
And legal costs and stuff.
Any adjacent surveys that have already been, that would delineate? Actually, no, I understand the survey would have to be done.
Yeah, because they'll have to name that as a part,
Yep, fair
Yeah.
enough.
but we can talk about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
I appreciate your time. I guess you
Thank-
don't need me for anything else.
you can stay if you
You can
want.
stay.
No, I got lots going on.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay, the next matter on the agenda is number 5, unfinished business, and it's the reports from Jewel Engineering. There's actually 2 of them. The horizontal curve review report and the traffic sign one. And maybe I will turn this over to Dave.
Sure. So Jewel got us back a report on the curve study we asked them to do. So they drove a number of roads and they use a device to determine a safe speed to travel the curve at. What they did is they produced a chart showing the most severe curve speed limit that they encountered. And they've made some recommendations about possible signage that it could be adapted to basically a risk study. So there's a little matrix included in the report. So that is the impact of the signage being there or not compared to likelihood of accident. So some of these roads are not, do not have a high annual average daily traffic count. So we can look at records from the OPP, you know, as an indicator to decide, you know, how best to go about signing these curves. I mean, if we had, let's say on one hand, a number of accidents on a road that the OPP were reporting, it may be a good idea to go in and, you know, sign each one of these curves with an advisory speed limit, you know, chevrons. That would be kind of the whole treatment. On some of our other roads, like Allen Lake Road, when we did it in 2018, the engineer's recommendation was to use a tight winding road sign, which is that squiggly one, and then a distance marker at the entrance to the road. And then as you go down the road, there's reminders through some of the worst sections, so that the sign is repeated going in and out. That is a more economical way to approach it, where we're not having a lot of problems. So in some cases here, we have, you know, South Mackenzie Lake Road, very, very low traffic count, very twisty, windy road over its entire length. You know, that could be signed at the entrance. And then, you know, with some reminders down the road. If you look at North Mackenzie Lake Road, it has some sections that are very twisty and windy for a period, and then it's long straight sections. So that could have the tight winding road advisory with the distance, you know, through that section, and then nothing, you know, through the straight sections. If you look at old 127, it's basically all straight with one severe curve at the very end of it. You know, that could be chevroned and advisory because it's just one. But I think it comes down to maybe that little bit of risk analysis that we need to do is look at the number of accidents and think about the economy of, you know, maybe dealing with this with perhaps, you know, 15 or 20 signs to address it. And instead of, you know, 200, which it could be in the, you know, unless, you know, we start getting much higher traffic counts and incidents. You know, if we have an accident in the same corner 3 times in the summer, we probably should do something about it. So that's basically the advice of the report. And what I would propose is we look at the cost of these signs and look at, you know, inclusion in the 2023 budget as part of an expanded presence of signs on some of the roads to mark these out. And I think that was the intention when the report was requested, was to look at some of these roads like North Mackenzie and get some additional signage on them for some newcomers that aren't used to the road, that they've at least got some warning.
And both of these reports go hand in hand with the roads needs analysis too, correct?
Correct.
And the section numbers that were referred to in here refer to the section numbers in the roads needs study.
Correct. We want to talk about that separately. I can just move into the reflectivity.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the reflectivity, what they've done as part of this report is they've gone out and they have visited each one of our existing signs. And there is 389 of them. They have commented on 388 because one of them was too tall for them to safely check reflectivity on. So it's a report card is what it is. So when they went and visited the signs, they took a GPS coordinate, which has now created a database, and this database can be transferred into our new town sweep program under CGIS as a layer. So that when we do road patrol, we will be able to theoretically with a tablet know when a sign is missing, where it belongs, what it is. And then we should be able to add to it, say when we put the new curb warning signs in and increase the layer. The other part of this is to tell us the condition of our signs from reflectivity. So they take a device and they place it on the sign and it takes a measurement. Signs fade. And we are looking at a replacement of 122 signs. Again, we'll have to look at if we can include them in the 2023 budget entirely. They do need to be addressed. Certainly a schedule, a timeline needs to be developed. Maybe on worst case basis. Just as you drive through the township, you'll notice some faded signs, and strangely enough, the brand new ones that went in on Allen Lake in 2018, a number of them are fading. So I don't know if it's because they're south facing, if they were inferior quality at some point, but we've also got some very, very old signs that you know, need to be addressed. So there's one here on Hay Creek Road that's quite faded. So what we would do is come up with a kind of a sign program as part of road patrol next year, get in a number of signs, fix up our inventory. I've spoke to the guys at the shop. We're going to create an area for the signs that we need to replace and take out some of the other ones and put them in the back shed that, you know, the park signs and things like that, because we're gonna have to bring in a number and then get them out changing these signs. But that's how that report will be incorporated into operations basically immediately, and then yes, included as part of our asset management plan on the roads needs study overall.
For budgeting purposes, Dave, do all of the signs roughly cost the same amount, or every one different?
They're roughly the same amount. We have choices now between steel and aluminum. One thing I want to ask of the sign producers, I'd like to look a little further into the Allen Lake signs that have faded and see if there's some different qualities out there, because it was done under contract. Not to take anything away from the contractor, but I mean, you know, it was a suitable sign. It met all the MTO specifications. But I know some of our civic address signs, we've had quite a problem with the quality of, you know, the coating falling off, and a steel or aluminum, I think the steel stands up better. Right now, it depends where the market price is, so we're not talking a huge difference, but when you're looking at 122 signs, we would likely go out for, well, actually, another beauty of this report, we would go out for a you know, quote from 3 companies and maybe come up with a spec. Probably talk to highways and just see if there's a higher spec. I think there was 2 choices for the civic address signs, and there was a price difference because they have a harder coating that might last. So that's what I would do is try and get this out to tender, not a tender, but certainly a price quote from.
Any councillors have any questions?
I have a couple of comments or questions.
Go ahead,
I
Councillor
noticed,
Powell.
I'm just wondering why some of all of the roads possibly in the area weren't identified. Like the dump road, for example, the way people drive and the number of corners, etc. It certainly needs some attention. Area road's another windy one. I guess, but also Victoria Lake didn't even show up on there for some reason.
Which one did you show?
Victoria Lake.
Victoria Lake did not show up on there. We picked a number of roads. And I think that kind of, there's probably some others missing too. We would look at all the roads when we go out to sign. This gives me enough of an idea, you know, what we need to sign now, so we can drive through it, you know, in our trucks and decide, well, this section needs signed as well. It just limited the report a little bit in its scope.
Well, I guess, Dave, you know, and council knows, at least this term of council and maybe even into the previous one, I've requested certain signs in Mackenzie Lake area based on requests, accidents, people in the ditch, etc. And I was being told that we need to have a roads need study. Now you're telling me if I heard you correctly, that you can drive the road and make your own decision. So I guess if that was the case, why did we wait 4 or 6 years for the same study? And also, some of these roads, and you talked about them, and I fully agree with you, is like South Mackenzie Lake Road. And I'm just going to target Sabine, for example. South Mackenzie Lake Road, Henry Coghlan Drive, Pastwell Lake Road, possibly the Hay Lake Road from north from the lodge. They should have that reduced speed right at the entrance to them so that people slow down. And then if it's, I think it'd be one sign would serve all type of thing. And maybe even from the start of Bennett Road, that would a sign right there where you start to go down towards the boat launch would it would just reduce the speed and less chance of accident. But there's still those locations on the North Mackenzie Lake Road that I talked about before that, for example, just north of the South Mackenzie Lake turn, where the snowmobiles and the ATVs cross, that's pretty windy and I always thought needed signs. There was a request from constituents. I passed it on here at the meetings. And then in just before the mine, where the old mine was there, and we talked about it earlier, where the West Hastings, East Hastings line is there, just prior to that. It's pretty windy in there. And I guess almost from Gunter's into the the Hastings Road, or the Mackenzie Lake Road portion of it, where it's actually straight again, going up towards Peachaw's. That section should be reduced speed at all times. So anyway, I'm really concerned about this, and I look forward to the day when the signs are up, and feel good that we've come this far. But anyway, I thought they would have identified more particular locations or individual locations in there when they were driving it, so that it would give you heads up. But you're telling me you can do that now, so I'm looking forward to it. And anyway, thanks a lot.
Councillor Shala, in the report, I'll take, and I don't have it in front of my screen right now, but on South Mackenzie Lake Road, we'll just use it as an example. Right now, because it's not posted, the speed limit is 80 kilometers an hour. So you're suggesting that we reduce roads like that in speed right from start to finish with one speed limit throughout?
In that particular location, that's only about 2 to 2.5 kilometers.
Mhm.
And I would say yes. And the same with Henry Coghlan Drive. I think to me, it's quite based on the people, the traffic, and I'm not knocking the people, how they drive. Some of them do drive a little bit fast, but I just think it's a good heads up to all of the people coming to those particular roads or locations. And especially if they're first time users, and they're not that long of a road, but I don't think it would hamper too many people's timeline if they had to reduce their speed for 1 kilometer or 2 along a road for public safety, or and we talk about number of accidents. I think we should be doing this with the intention of posting it so we don't have any accidents. And anyway, that's my thoughts.
I can't, right at the top of the screen, I can't see who that is. Mayor Dumas.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Florent, and thank you, Dave, for your report, and Richard for your comments. And the one thing that you've said and that I saw in the report was that these areas, these signs that they did look at have already been GPSed and will build our database. And this is just a general comment in regards to asset management. And and I'm asking, I guess, Dave, first of all, that we continue to GPS every sign that you're looking at of those ones that are not contained in this report, because that's, of course, our asset management process. And just another question, as I say, thinking of GPSing, infrastructure throughout South Algonquin. Have we GPSed all those culverts that we've replaced and put them into our database?
That's a very good question. Jerry had gone through a process, I think, with Tracy just prior to me arriving, where he went out and GPSed all of the culverts. And I think they existed on a laptop, which I do not know where it is now. So at the moment, we do not. We have mileage and measurements, but we would like to get that in separately into a layer into CGIS in the future. We would like to have that kind of equipment to go out and locate all of the culverts on as a layer as well. But at the moment, they do not exist.
Could I one further comment, Chair, if you don't mind? I think it's really important that maybe in these minutes of this asset management committee meeting that we could note that. And, we hire students every summer. Wouldn't this be an awesome change for a job for a student for the summer? Yes, it's wonderful to work with the roads crew, on the hands-on things, but this is something that I would see being right up the alley of a, even of a high school student that's into this type of thing. So just, not going to be here, but would really like to maybe have some of these things noted for continuation, into the next years of council. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Dumas. Getting back to Councillor Shala's thoughts on the speed limits, I tend to agree with him, especially on the shorter roads, that they should be reduced. I'm not real sure that I go along with Jewel Engineering's idea of what speed limit should be, because they recommend in some of those cases going from 80 to 30. I think that may be a bit too slow, although, people never drive the speed limit anyway, but I would rather see it at 30 than at 80.
Just comment on that.
Sure, go ahead.
They've suggested, what they've given us is the maximum speed to the worst curve.
Yeah.
So when one of their recommendations that they've made is to reassess current speed limits as we go forward. So when we redo our level of service bylaw, that would be a time to go road by road and think about it. Allen Lake Road, for instance, and Spectacle Lake Road had reduced speed limits when we rebuilt them. So Spectacle Lake, we dropped to 50. Having said that, we still put advisory signage up for curbs. So the speed limit may be 60 or 80 or 50. That would be a regulatory sign. When we do that regulatory speed limit, we are required to put those regulatory signs at intervals along those roads based on the speed limit. So it's more signs to maintain, more signs to purchase. No problem with it, but if we're going to regulate it, it means signs all the way down the road. And then we'll still have to advisory. So certainly we do level of service. We should probably look at some of these roads again. And, South Mackenzie could easily be 60. At 80, it's still under the Highway Traffic Act. You have to drive to road conditions. Nobody can do 80 on South Mackenzie Lake Road. It just means we're not required to post all those signs, and people need to be responsible. So it would still be a combination of regulatory and advisory as we look at it road by road and the impacts of those costs.
Dave, or Chair, could I make a comment on that? I don't believe that, Dave, I disagree with you. You can't drive South Mackenzie Lake Road at 60 kilometers. You just can't.
60
Period.
or 50, we would look for, when we review the bylaw, we would come up with an appropriate speed limit.
Well, when I hear you say 60, 30 is likely maximum. There's some pretty sharp corners, absolutely no line of sight in about three locations anyway. and there's dips in the road, and culverts on the corners, and all combined in the particular locations. And it would just scare me if I was going to drive in there and meet somebody coming out at 60.
I think very likely if we approve a budget in 2023 for at least some of the signs, if not all of them, that we go through it on a road by road basis and determine. First, we would get a staff report recommending a speed limit for each road and then approval, and hopefully address it that way. If we reduce the speed limit on one road entirely, doesn't mean that we would be required to do the same on the next road. I think we should be treating each road individually, separately, yes.
I agree. It certainly needs a common sense approach.
That's right. I think we're all in agreement on that. Okay, if nobody has anything else on either of those reports, and I don't see any hands up, we will move on to the new business. Dave?
Oh, are we still on old business, Joe? Or Chair?
We were on unfinished business. and
Okay,
now we're going-
I have a comment on unfinished business.
Go ahead.
I requested a school bus sign on Mackenzie Lake Road, and it hasn't been installed. And I'm really, really concerned about the public safety there, about the children's safety. I'm concerned about the school bus safety, the operator. And I'm wondering, Dave, can that be installed? If it's not going to be installed, I'm going to put a motion on the floor at our council meeting in October, and then we will vote on it. But I would prefer that I'm telling you, this is a hazard. As a matter of fact, the school bus driver will not stop and back into that driveway. She's afraid. She has to drive into it and turn in their property, which I think is contrary to their policy. But also if you drive across our great province, there are school bus turning and school bus stopping signs in numerous places. And I've requested this, and I've actually just talked to the property owners at this particular location, that the house was built in the early 70s, and it's the first time there's children living there, and there's 3 young children. So the potential there is based on the line of sight, the elevations, everything. It just, to me, I don't know why we're dragging our feet and putting that sign up. So I guess I'm just want to ask you a question. Are we going to get the sign, or are we not?
I can get a sign up. We put up children playing signs both ways. But we can look at a school bus turning sign. I haven't heard anything from the bus company at all about it, but I will see if we can get one up there as soon as possible. We'll add it to the children playing sign, or in that section.
Councillor Shala and Dave, you probably know what area you're talking about, but for the rest of council, can you give us a civic address or where that is?
It's there. So like 196 Mackenzie Lake Road. It's once you come in the south entrance and you go past the south road, and then you'll come across what's known as Porcupine Hill, double culverts at the bottom where the Skidoo Trail crosses. As you come up the hill, there's a house on the right, and it's got ATVs and things like that there, and then it's a bit of a curve, and then it goes down on the other side. So it's a hilly section.
Okay, and just if any of the councillors wanted to have a look at the site, like I didn't even, I do remember from before, but there was nothing in this discussion saying that it was even on Mackenzie Lake Road.
I'll have to double check on the civic address for you.
Well,
It's just
no,
from
it's
memory.
general area is good enough.
I'm sorry, I got kicked out of computer.
I was
so-
just asking for an address of where that location was in case any of the councillors wanted to have a look, Richard.
Oh, I would have to look at it on the, it's the only home at the south end of Mackenzie Lake Road.
Dave has enlightened us while you were offline.
Okay, it's we called it Reagan Marsh. It's the old Reagan property, and it's about a kilometer north of the South Mackenzie Lake Road.
Yeah, that's where Dave told us. Okay, Dave also said that he's going to do it. He's going to put some school bus signs up there.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. I'll pass that information on to the property owner.
We also have the children playing that we can put.
Well, both signs could fit
Guys
on
go this
the,
afternoon. If not, we'll get one.
Okay, it's going to be looked after, Richard.
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, now we can move on to new business, and the first thing on the agenda is the Works Department operating report.
Give it a run through. So we had one of our full-time operators is upgrading his license to an AZ. That's already underway and should be completed by October 24th. So that will give us 3 AZ drivers. Be very helpful. He's also the employee that operates the excavator most of the time, so that means he'll be able to take himself to job sites and give us a lot more flexibility. He's going to do most of his time away just kind of in the beginning of October, so it won't be too disruptive. We'll be winding down our capital stuff by then and just getting ready for winter.
Just out of curiosity, where does he have to go for that?
He has to go to Peterborough for his in truck. Most of it he can do online. The other
Okay.
stuff. So he's going to travel back and forth, and they've given us a schedule, so we've already put that on the calendar down at the work yard.
Okay,
Dave, or Chair, I'd like to ask a question or make a comment. I think this is great, employee training and education. Is everyone in the department given opportunities? And I think you need the additional person with the AZ is excellent. And you made a comment about the excavator. Are others that may be interested in the excavator given an opportunity to maybe take a training on an excavator, for example, also?
Yes, we do. When opportunity presents itself, we have had the other full-time operators on the excavator, and we do cross training. A lot of the times we're trying to be as efficient as possible, so we do tend to have the most efficient operator on the excavator, but we have 3, certainly 2 that are extensive excavating operating experience, and 1 that is certainly able to load trucks and do some digging. We've had him out for we did old 127, all that ditching. We used that as a training exercise. So we have 3 guys that can operate the excavator. They can all operate the rubber tire backhoe, and we've got 4 grader operators.
I think you missed or partially missed part of my question. Are they given the same opportunity to go out, and is it budgeted for if they were interested and maybe needed training, the necessary training to be able to operate a particular piece of equipment? As this person is here.
Yeah, we haven't done any external training like that in a little while, but we have in the past. We brought in ground force training to do the grader operator course, and I have had 1 employee has expressed interest in going to equipment school in North Bay, and I told them that we would see if there is if we can include something like that in the 2023 budget. It's a bit of a commitment in time from him, and we would like to get give the opportunities to some employees to do some equipment training if they want to.
Okay, it's just equal opportunities. Thanks a lot.
okay, go ahead, Dave.
Just brought you, so we We plowed the large parking lot at the Hay Lake Boat Launch last winter, and I asked the operators to keep notes in their diary and put it in the operations logs as to the vehicles they encountered. So that is just our observations, for discussion or, possible changes in operations for the upcoming plow season. So not a lot of use was observed, and a fair bit of plowing for not a lot of cars. So council can discuss that if you want for a moment, or we can carry on doing what we're doing, or we could go back to just plowing the small parking lot at the corner. It seems to be sufficient from what we saw.
Dave, you know what controls or affects a lot of that parking is number one, slush conditions. If people aren't allowed to go up the lake based on information from the local area, the people in the area, they certainly don't come to the cottage or travel. And I think COVID could have had an effect on it also. So I'm just wondering if you stuck with it for one more season at least, give it a fair trial, and then the next council can make a decision on it. I realize it's a time and it's cost. There's no question. I fully agree. And if it's not necessary, it's not necessary. But if we give it an opportunity to either be successful or be changed, then maybe we made the right decision.
Perhaps once word gets out, it would increase, or, if somebody wants to reach out and let people know it's there. As it sits right now, it's on our schedule for this season. So, unless we are instructed to take it off, we would carry on with what we did last year.
Well, that's good.
And
Thanks.
observe it again.
Okay.
Okay, I think we'll go along with that, Dave. Just keep track of it again this winter, and the next council can make a decision whether they want to continue it or not.
I've asked the guys to keep notes on all the parking lots now, the outlying ones, just so we have some data to look at and compare apples to apples.
Yep.
And see where we're spending our time. Good idea.
Yep, just a question. When do we normally, you had just mentioned about collecting data about how frequently some lots are used when they're plowed. What is the cycle that we review that data, just so that in the future, if we're gonna stop that snowplow service at this parking lot, like, are there other ones that will also analyze at that same time?
We never have yet. This is the first one I've asked them to keep track of. So we thought there would be value in collecting that data now.
For sure.
Especially if we're looking at, updating our level of service bylaw for speed limits and other things that we're going to look at. It might be good to have, we have annual average traffic counts, but we don't have parking lot use information. And we can post winter closures, if we decide that these parking lots aren't worth it, when we do that review. So I thought at least it would give council some more information to make decisions on, but it's a beginning of this collection.
Dave, while we're on the topic of parking lots, in this winter, whose turn is it to maintain the Spectacle Lake?
This winter is Madawaska Valley's. We thought it last year.
Okay, because I understand that turnaround at the end of that road is abused very badly.
Yes, it is.
But that's not in our township, so I don't know how to go about correcting that.
Well, we have the sign now posted at the front of the at Highway 60 on all of our entrances, just notifying the public that they cannot block the roads for maintenance. The OPP, because that sign is there, are more willing to go in and ticket or do something if we get to that point, or we can tow. Madawaska Valley can call to have vehicles towed. It becomes difficult when they have trailers attached to them.
Yeah.
So trucks in forwards with trailers on the back. But we do try and get the word out and, speak to the public, and we get it in our newsletter, and we do have the notices we put on windshields. That seems to get their attention. But yeah, we haven't had to back out of there in a while, but it can happen. The tandem has to back out of there. Wow. It's not very safe. Or
No, it's a long ways to back up, and it's pretty curvy and hilly.
I'll just maybe bring one situation from the past that occurred to maybe give council a little better glimpse at what can happen. So we had a situation, I think it was on North Allen Lake Road, and there was a truck parked to go fishing. And our tandem got around it, but broke his mirror. Now we knew the guy, and I spoke to the OPP, and the OPP informed me that our plow driver could have been charged. So when the guys are there making a choice about whether to plow the road or not, and there's a truck there, that's in their mind. So really, they need to know that they can call, and that we're able to tow those vehicles, because we didn't get charged, but that is the situation those guys are in.
Okay, Dave, you can carry on with I think the next is the environmental services part.
Sure. So our recycling program, it took a while to get an answer back from the MECP, giving us at least some kind of permission to begin the program, but we did get that, and we began on August 24th, and the response is anything beyond what I had anticipated. We've now had to have a third bin introduced at each site. It seems to be picking up speed, so they're coming regularly now, Wednesday mornings or Thursdays, and picking up the bins. But we have now had five collections since we started.
Yay.
And we're just about to get our tonnages back. So it's, people are getting used to it. I just spoke to a business owner 2 nights ago and let him know that the program was there and they can start bringing their stuff. So we're hoping, I think once we get buy-in from some of the businesses, the cardboard that they're producing, that it's even going to get more popular. So that's a lot of stuff not going in the landfill and not going in our truck. So I've also asked our collection staff to keep an eye on how much garbage is now going out to the curb. So I think it's going to translate into reduction.
I would think it would be significant reduction. I'll just give you an anecdotal. I was at the waste management or waste disposal site in Lyle last Saturday and met a woman throwing recycled stuff in that asked me about the dump accessibility in the wintertime. She had never been to the dump before, lived in our township for 20 years, never been to the dump before. She was bringing her recyclable stuff. So, people are buying in big time. Like, I'm surprised too. Honestly, I am.
I know in our home, I've got something to throw in the garbage, and I went, oh, you know what, I can wash that out. So now we have a container in the back, and our garbage is probably in half in our house.
Question about cardboard. Is cardboard supposed to be completely dry when you deposit it? It should be. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, super.
And flattened.
Oh, yeah, of course, flattened. Yeah. So let's say if a resident has cardboard, but it got wet, at that point, is it compromised and should it go in the shred pile instead?
I think there's a difference between damp and sopping wet. So someone needs to use their judgment.
Okay.
If it's falling apart in your hands, it probably shouldn't end up there, but
right.
A bit of rain on it's not going to bother.
Dave, I've noticed where some of that cardboard wasn't broken down is the attendant cutting it to fit so it compacts good, or are we asking the resident when you're dropping it off to break it down more so that it does fit in the bin? Because the cardboard's light to start with, so, and quite bulky. So if it isn't broken down properly, or maybe our next newsletter, we should really emphasize the breaking it down to assist the attendant on the operation.
Very good point. So we had an extra attendant on for, when we launched this. We're now just down to the regular attendants. And I talked to the guys regular, and they're saying that people basically are getting it. So people are even informing other people. And they're not reporting any problems with cardboard at this time. But the more messaging we can get out, the better. I think there's still a lot of people out there that don't even know that we're recycling it. So we still have the flyers and we can make them available. They've got them at both landfill sites. People do, they want to know what you can put in and what you can't.
I think we'll soon be putting
Chair.
out a new landfill schedule, won't we? And we could make sure to include a fairly big blurb on the recycling program in that. Who
Chair.
was that? Mayor Dumas?
Thank you, Chair. And, I'm not sure, but I think we should target the school and the daycare. Some of the employees perhaps at the school are not local and maybe have not received our community letter that the township puts out. And I don't know about the daycare, but we know that children are our best advocates as far as recycling goes. So just to make sure that we do let those two organizations know that the program is in existence. So just to make sure that they do know. Thank you.
Just on a side note, Mayor, when you put your hand out in front of you, it blocks your face and I can't see who it is that's
Okay.
looking for attention.
Thank you,
Go
Joe.
ahead.
I will move my hand. Thanks.
Thank you.
So I just composed a bit of a report card on where our capital projects are this year. I'll just run through them. The Era Trestle was completed June 17th and was completed on budget. I haven't heard anything negative, so I think, it's the public is enjoying it. We haven't blocked it up yet. We did talk about putting some rocks in front of it. I don't know if it's being abused. I haven't heard anything about people down there causing any problems. I don't know if anyone else has.
Dave, I was able to check it out, and I'd say it seems to be substantially more sturdy than the previous one for some reason. Is there an extra girder in the center, or?
No, I think it's the fact that it's Douglas fir compared to hemlock, and that the hemlock was starting to rot pretty badly, so it probably lost a lot of its integrity. Right now, the bolts are all tight. The surfaces hasn't been worn down by snow machine cleats. And the railing is definitely more sturdy. They did beef up the railing quite a bit when they constructed it.
Yeah, I looked underneath it also, and some of the cleats from the bottom, those bent rods, they don't appear to catch a lot of it, but maybe it is enough to catch those beams. But anyway, I just thought it was quite sturdy and was good, and it looks very good. I have another comment about it, but I'll flip you an email on it.
Okay. We do have some little benches that are showing up again. There was fishing tables attached to the old trestle, and these ones are removable. I've spoke to the people that are doing it and just asked them to remove them when they're done. The concern is someone will catch it in their leg. They're hooked onto the railing, so they're not fastened at the moment. And I've gone there and found them on the bridge and taken them off, and then sometimes they're off the bridge. But there's
two of them there.
They're nightly. So, not an issue at the moment, I don't think, but we are keeping an eye on it.
Jane, you had a comment?
Yeah, yes, thank you. I too went and looked at it and it looks really good. To me, though, it looks as though there's a parking area starting to happen as you get close, you're going along the walkway, which I presume is a walkway, and it looks to me like either ATVs or actually small four-wheel vehicles like a Jeep have been parking there. So I think it bears close monitoring. And I think that if it becomes evident that there's, vehicles driving up to it, that we do go ahead with the, intermittent placement of stones or whatever to prevent that. And the other thing, Dave, if someone could look at the sign, there's a very lovely sign there recognizing the committee that was set up to refurbish the initial refurbishment of the trestle. And it looks like it could use a little care, but I'm not sure. It's a metal sign. And anyway, maybe just have a look at it and see if there's something we could do to preserve the writing and the recognition of the individuals, et cetera, that were part of that process of establishing the trestle. So, and yes, I've seen the signs there as well, but it was great that the stairways have been kept down to the water edge too, which is good. So it's a huge, it's a very nice recognition of the rail travel to our community, and it looks good. So thank you.
So Dave, if you could carry on.
Okay. Sure, the McRae Hay Lake Road resurfacing project basically went very well and on schedule. When we had originally looked at this, I think we talked about possibly expanding as need be to address, beyond the half kilometer section of road that was we were targeting. So we were able to do 900 meters of road, so just under a kilometer. We did discover there was some extra work required in ditching. So there's people not familiar with the area. There was a logging access built on the left-hand side as you go in, and there was also a log landing on the right-hand side, kind of right in the bad section that had deteriorated. So we ditched across those, and when we did, a lot of water came out of the ground. So I think what happened is they went in and they logged it, didn't put the ditches back, or maybe they didn't even exist. And that water, got into the roadbed and did a lot of damage. So we ditched all that out, and I think it's been much drier. We've had a lot of rain, and we haven't had any erosion problems in there at all. One more day, we'll have the shouldering finished. We left it to do just after Labor Day because of traffic in there, but also to coincide with the construction of the dry hydrant, because we used double duty on the equipment. We would have been done yesterday had not a beaver dam high up broke on Allen Lake Road again. So we lost a day going out to fix that on Monday, but the grade all that's doing the shouldering work will be back on Monday to finish it, and that job will be complete. Generally, it looks like it's going to track about 10% over from the budgeted amount because we made some other improvements, but that is being absorbed within the other drainage and road improvement money. So I don't anticipate any kind of need for reserve funds or anything like that to finish the project. So the lodge owner has sent me a very nice email. She appreciates the work, and seems to be well received from what I understand so far. So that's where that one is at. And then just kind of gave you a shopping list of the other work that we've been doing, some of the trouble spots throughout the township, which is still continuing. The work on the proven line kind of jumped the queue a little bit because it needed work anyway, but so the two of the culverts that were too high, that were just under the surface, collapsed under the truck traffic that was going down Pasqua Lake Road to do that improvement down there. So we got into it, and they also, the intersection has been a problem for a while. So we did a realignment there, and we were able to remove a number of rocks. The grader's actually going back there today. It's had a little bit of time to settle down with traffic on it, and we've replaced 5 culverts along that road and introduced some ditching to stop the residents' property on the corner from flooding out. It's getting road water. They actually had the road tipped at 8% the wrong way just to stop it from flooding his property, and seems to be doing its job during the last rain. A little bit of erosion, but anyway, that's been a little bit ahead of where we thought it would happen, but it was very important work to get done. We went from there, to get back to the North Allen Lake Road. There was 2 culverts that were very important. One was damaged by the logging operation last year, again, because it was too high. So we didn't want to go through another winter plowing over that. So we changed those 2, and also fixed a problem at the corner on Gaffney Road where the plows were almost into the ditch every time they went around the sharp corner. So that one's been changed. I'll go back to the Allen Lake thing at the end, the beaver dam. So basically, we're within our budget on the road and drainage improvements, just kind of watching it track to the end here. I would like to get some more culverts in the yard. We're just the price of polyethylene right now is a bit of an issue, so I'm just trying to get that. But we do have quite a bit of pipe in the yard still, if something comes up. But that may or may not fit in this year's budget. The other thing I just commented on was the work on North Allen Lake Road that, it's had a positive budget impact of about $17,000. That's been realized. I'm still going to be reviewing the file, and there may be a little more to realize for the township there, but for all intents and purposes, it looks like it was a positive of about 17,000. When you do see the budget for road and drainage, it's going to be over by the amount that we spent on the logging for the expense, because it was unplanned, but the offsetting revenue generates the plus 17. So yes, you will see an overage there, but I'll have a breakdown of that when we get to budget time. Just an update on the dry hydrants. We're generally going very well. We had a 1-day delay because of the beaver dam, but the last one is being installed right now, and I will be heading there right after this meeting. We started this morning, so all the in-water work will be finished, in-ground work will be finished as of today, and then we'll be starting the end treatments, right away. There'll be a concrete base for each one, and then the bollards will be set up, and in the McCrae-Hay Lake Road area, there'll be a parking area created, not a parking, but a backing area for the trucks, so we can plow and maintain it. Generally, everything has gone pretty good.
Dave, if I can just back up for 1 second on Pasqua Lake Road. For any counselors that have looked at that road or are familiar with that road, I would suggest you go and have a look at it now and see the difference. It's like night and day from what it was a year ago to what it is today. And the improvements were virtually cost-free for the township. It was a resident paid for the bulk of it. It's dramatic. If you drive in there, you won't think it's the same road at all.
Good.
It's going to allow us to get in there earlier for road patrol in the year too. And it's, yeah, huge improvement.
It certainly is.
So just moving on to the Galerie Lake Park Privy. There is a cement shortage in Ontario, and it is due to all the construction projects, I guess, going on down south. So we put an order in for architectural block that, is that rough faced block that has pigment in it. And there is none to be had. I have called as far away as London and Sudbury. They are not producing it unless we do want to order 3,000 block. And even then we have to get in the queue. So we had an order in, and when our supplier called to have his order filled, he was told there's none to be had. So I didn't let that go and started making my own phone calls. So our choice at the moment is to either go with regular block or nothing. We're not set up to go to framing. I think we can do it with standard block. I've got 2 contractors that have given us prices to lay the block. They're both very experienced, and they've done a parging, so a colored parging. They introduce a color, and then they do it's almost like a sponge float finish. It's not rough, but it's textured, and it's actually a little more economical than the architectural block. I think it would be attractive, and our door frames are coming. They're designed for block. All of that stuff is in, so it'd be hard to change to anything else. And the plan is to carry on with that right after September 28th. We'll be putting the tank in the ground and getting that done before snow flies. So I don't know if anyone has any concerns about changing the construction or thoughts, but we're kind of in a corner.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes. Yep.
It's moving on to the boiler replacement. We had a little back and forth with some proposals here, but we're going to have a new propane, high efficiency propane boiler installed in the township office here first 2 weeks of October to replace the existing oil. And it's quite a good number that we got to put this in. It's I think it's going to be a cost savings for sure for the township on with propane over oil. And then the Madawaska Fire Hall awning, we have a commitment from a contractor to build it. Mike has done a little design, the material's on its way, so we're anticipating that to happen in the next few weeks.
Okay, anybody have any questions of Dave? I'm not sure if he's staying with us or if he's heading out the
I
door.
would really like to get back to the dry hydrant.
I have one, Chair. Dave, I'm just wondering if you mentioned briefly there the grader was out on the proven line. Is he grading all the roads in Sabine?
Yes.
Okay, good, because just south of the South Mackenzie Lake turn between there and Highway 127, there's quite a lot of erosion. So that'll be great. And it's good to get it done before leaf season. So
Yeah,
before they start
we-
falling, because then you can't get a very good job. So anyway, good, thanks.
Councilor Florent, can we ask Dave to stay, can we move stuff around on the agenda, the waste collection of Leland Lake? I think
Oh,
Dave
yeah,
should
that's
be there
right.
for that.
Sorry, if I can stick around.
Oh.
Sure.
Okay, if that's all right with the rest of council, we're going to change the last bullet point waste collection to now while Dave is still here. And is somebody got a report on that?
I think it's a discussion at this point in time. So Councilor Rodnick has had some requests, I think 3 or 4, to change the off-season garbage collection day from Wednesdays to Sundays for Allen Lake, because the year-round people are finding it difficult to get there because they work through the week. We've looked at, I mean, from an operation point of view, it would require a complete revamping of our winter schedule. So we have 7 days. The driver that drives the collection truck typically is in rotation to drive a plow truck. We don't operate the collection truck on Sundays at all in the wintertime. So I suppose anything is possible. I'm not sure. It would basically require an entire review of what we're doing and see if we can move something. Right now, it's part of the Wednesday collection in Madawaska. So if we switched it to Sunday, then Yeah,
the other part of
it could trigger another person, or it could trigger a complete change in pickup in Madawaska's for Wednesday, so it affects a lot of people. But there has been 3 very valid requests. I mean, I read them and they were well thought out, and I can see their point of view. You know, the dump is open, and
And they've got the recycling program going now too, so.
and the recycling is there. You know, they. But you know, we can have a discussion about it, or if we want to, you know, go through that process of trying to figure out how to schedule it in, I could try that, but.
So I'm assuming that your recommendation is that we don't do anything.
I would
Yeah.
prefer not to change it. Yes, it would cause quite a disruption to the winter schedule.
Can I
Go ahead,
ask how
Councillor
many
Collins.
people? Can I ask how many people are living there full time, and this would be targeted at? How many people with their garbage on the Sunday
I believe
live
there's,
there after? Councillor Rodnick, do you know those numbers?
basically, the request came from about 3 or 4 different other people. There's been, there's still a number of people there that are retired, the oldies. Some people leave in November, December. There's probably about 10 or 12 people that are there full time.
Okay, all right, thank you.
If Chair, as Chair of Waste Management, this come up and earlier, and we were going to relook at it, and I don't think this would affect anybody that's living there on a full-time basis, because they can go whatever day, Wednesday or any other day of the week. So it was primarily, I think, just for weekenders. So
Well, there
I
are
guess
more
if
people
it affects every weekenders, possibly maybe the Saturday collection in Madawaska can accommodate them, and rather than Dave have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops, and maybe it'd be not very cost effective for the township to add this additional service. Anyway, I don't know. Bill, what's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I brought the request because people on the lake made the request. And they did have some valid reasons, but I mean, we can't do it at a significant cost to the municipality.
No. No,
That's how I see this.
I do too.
I can just say something too. We don't have Saturday collection or Sunday collection in the wintertime anywhere. So
Mhm, mhm.
I think we give an exceptional service in the summer.
that's right.
Yeah, you've got more pickup than anybody else does.
Mhm.
So I think council's inclined to agree with the work superintendent on this, that
Yeah.
without a lot of disruptions, where council's inclined just to leave it the way it is.
I agree.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, now, thanks, Dave, for your presence here today. We can move on to the deputy treasurer staff report on tangible capital assets. Is Jennifer here to?
She's on.
I am, yes. Good morning.
Morning, Jennifer.
Thanks, Councillor Florent. So I'll just recap quickly the what I presented to council, and that's the proposed changes to the accounting for tangible capital asset policy. So we've made an amendment to the capital threshold amount for land improvement unit cost. We've changed that from 4,000 to 5,000. This will alleviate some unnecessary recording and tracking. We've made that similar change in December to another asset class. The second amendment we amended the amortization schedule to recognize amortization in the year of disposal of the asset. Currently, we're in the policy, we're recognizing it both the year of acquisition and disposal. So to follow industry best practices, as well as aligning with how our financial statements incorporate the assets, we would like to propose the change to just recognizing amortization in the year of disposal. The last change that we've made was in addition to Appendix C. This just basically provides a summary for staff and any stakeholders with a quick glance tool, if you will. So not a lot of changes to the policy, but a few housekeeping items. So the recommendation is that council would proceed by passing the bylaw on the October 5th council meeting. So I'll open that up if anybody has any questions.
Any council have any questions of Jennifer?
If I could just quickly make a comment, Chair, I did happen to be in the office, I think the last time the auditors were down, and they were glowingly reporting, the excellent work that is being done by Jen and staff in regards to this. And I think the more work that our staff can do in-house for us in regards to these issues and streamlining to the auditor's requirement is a cost saving, a significant cost saving to the township. So I certainly agree that this should be fully endorsed and put forward. So thank you for the excellent work, Jen.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my sympathies too. I tried to get through this, reading this, and it's about the driest material I've ever read in my life.
Yeah, it does get pretty dry, yes. Although this policy is really the staff's guide on how to account for our tangible capital assets. So it's very, very important policy for us. And we've had it for quite some time, but we've just been tweaking it and changing it to suit, the industry standards as well as auditors' suggestion.
As a counselor, I'm very happy to have staff here to look after this for us.
Thanks, Jen.
Okay,
Can I
there's
just
no
say-
other
Can I just
questions.
say something, please?
Yes, go ahead.
My clock's chiming, sorry. I would just like to congratulate Jen on getting her head around all of this. Absolutely 10 out of 10, Jen, and thank you for all your hard work. I appreciate it personally and know how much work's gone into this. So thank you.
Yeah, and with the help of Brian, who's been a big support as well in guiding the process through, giving the confidence that we need.
Noted. The next item on the agenda is the asset management level of services report from Dillon Consulting. Is somebody going to address that, or is that just here for information?
Yeah, so I can speak a little bit to it. It is basically for the information section. So Dillon Consulting did provide a survey to the South Algonquin residents. So it was regarding asset management levels of service. So this is something that they have created and also have done the report. They weren't able to be with us today. They didn't think perhaps that there was a need for it, but they certainly are open to answer any questions and we can send them on through to them for you. Or vice versa, Brian, when he's back to the office, I'm sure could probably answer any questions that you may have for it. It's interesting to note that some of the majority of residents were open to the idea of increasing tax levels to increase levels of service in some areas. So that was a bit of a surprise for me to read myself. But yeah, so if there's any direct questions, we will send them through to Dillon Consulting.
Any counselors have anything they would like to bring forth regarding the survey? Councillor Bungle?
Sure. Just a small comment. Based on the survey, it seems like people are fairly satisfied with their services, and the observation is that they don't want a reduction of services. And it seems as if, based on the results, that a reasonable tax increase to maintain services seems to be acceptable based on how people responded. And another comment that I wanted to make as well, the respondents of the survey it didn't seem like they were appreciative of the administrative services that we provide. And I feel as if what our admin staff provides can be overlooked a little bit sometimes, as you can see in these results. But I definitely very much value what our admin team brings to the township here. I think if we reduce the amount of admin services that we offer, then I think in that event people would realize what they are missing. But I think a survey like this is really, really valuable information, especially as we review our levels of service, especially if we ever refer back to the KPMG report, which does recommend various different reforms that we could consider to boost efficiency, financial efficiencies, and things like that. So yeah, thank you to staff for coordinating that, and I'm certain that these results will be useful should we reevaluate services in the future. Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay, looks like we're ready for adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn? By Councillor Bongo, seconded by Mayor Dumas. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.